In order to be in compliance with YouTube's guidelines, I had to censor this video in a few spots. The uncensored version is available on my Patreon. A link to the post can be found in the description. Costa was quite mysterious somewhat, and everybody has different stories. And then even the drug stuff. Some people are like, oh, he's on drugs, but I've heard over and over that he didn't do drugs.
I never, ever saw him do a drug. Ever.
And what about drinking?
Oh, I saw plenty of that. One night in LA, we have a section called Westwood, and my manager is Hungarian. He was Hungarian, and he was, you know, Barry White, right?
Of course.
We used to call my manager Very White. And he used to try to rap like Barry White, but, you know, like a businessman. Hello, darling. Shall we copulate tonight? You know? So we made up this character called Very White, and it was him. And he and Costa went drinking in Westwood. And then one of them got the idea that they were going to be evangelical healers. So we're walking down the street in Westwood, and Costa smacks a guy in the head with the palm of his hand on his forehead and screams, "Heal in the name of Jesus!" and my manager, who was drunk, got in on it. And they must have healed about 12 people before the cops came and healed their asses to jail. Yeah, Costa would do shit like that. And he would...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. He was completely unpredictable. M80 was a hell of a band. Me and Costa and Sam Mann was actually the drummer. Let me tell you about the first gig we did together at the Troubadour. We were making it a big deal out of it. So we got a limo, the whole thing. Costa says, okay, we're going to take separate limos. He says, because you don't want to be in a limo with me. Okay, all right, whatever. We arrive at the Troubadour. Costa is dressed like the mummy. He's completely wrapped from head to toe in cloth like the mummy. And he has cat shit smeared all over him. He gets out of the limo with 2 guitar cases. He hands one to Sam. We get on the stage. And now Sam had a jail cell for a stage prop. So he had to go into jail, shut the door, and play drums in jail. That was the stage prop, right?
Okay.
I'm on the left side, Costa's on the right side. Sam takes one of the guitar cases into the jail cell with him. I'm not thinking anything about it. Also, Sam had, you know, you have cymbals and you have the screws that you put on to keep the cymbals on. Well, all of his screws were little dildos. He had little dildos all over the kit. Wherever there was screws, there was a dildo. Rock and roll, I'm good. We start playing. It's sold out. We start playing. This girl gets on her boyfriend's shoulders and starts flashing Costa with her. Costa's playing, jumps off the stage, dressed like the mummy, and catch it and starts sucking Okay, this guy wasn't happy. So he and Costa get into something. Costa goes back onto the stage, into the cage, opens up the guitar, and he had a pickaxe. He comes back on the stage and starts swinging this pickaxe at this guy. A fucking pickaxe. I'm trying to sing the song, because I got no bass now, because he's swinging a pickaxe. Sam gets off the drums, pulls out a shotgun, and starts blowing holes in the ceiling of the Troubadour. I'm still trying to sing the song. And all of this is going on. And of course, the show's over. We're damn near arrested. We're kicked out of the Troubadour for life. But we made the front cover of Kerrang! Because of that. And the whole goddamn thing was planned, and it was all Costa's idea. And no one told me. He says, Niki, I knew you wouldn't do it. But then the next day, because I lived on Santa Monica and Palm, and in my building on the top floor was Al Jarreau, and also in my building was Jamie Lee Curtis, who I had no idea who she was. This is when she was doing the Halloween things. I don't watch horror movies, so I didn't know who she was. Anyway, somebody's ringing my bell, and they're like, So I said, yeah, hey, yeah, can I help you? Yeah, what? Yeah, I said, all right, I'm coming out now. I'm gonna fuck you. I came downstairs. It was Costa. Costa somehow got himself into a shopping cart and couldn't get out. He was trapped in the shopping cart and he couldn't get out. And he wanted me to help him get out. And so he figured that if he called me a I would come downstairs. Rather than say, hey, Niki, man, I'm stuck in the car. Can you help me? And that was Costa. Something else that he did, I don't know if anybody mentioned this, maybe his sister. When he got up in the morning, the first thing he did was watch Godfather 1, Godfather 2, and Godfather 3. Period. That's how he started his day. He knew the dialogue in all three movies, everybody's part, like a religious ritual for this guy. He started his morning, don't talk to him, don't speak to him, don't even look at him until he's finished all three Godfathers. Then he started his day. And this was every day. Let me tell you about him as a bass player. The first time I played with him, it was just me and him. And I was teaching him songs. And I literally found myself looking for the drummer because I could hear the kick drum in his fingers. He hit the bass so hard and so precise, it sounded like the kick drum was playing with him when he was playing by himself. And I can say this with absolutely no fanfare at all. He's the best bass player I ever played with in my life.
That's definitely one thing everybody agrees on is just how badass he was. Chris Holmes, when I interviewed him, and then, of course, Mark Kendall, too. He was just so badass. And he said even with the stage... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, he was saying with the stage stuff, he said Don was just kind of standing there playing. And he goes, hey, can you just kind of move around a little bit? And he goes, the very next gig, he had like chains and he was shredding his knuckles.
Yeah, he had a cheese grater on the back of his bass and he would shred his stomach.
His stomach?
There'd be blood everywhere. He had a cheese grater, a fucking cheese grater on the back of his bass, and he would start cutting up his stomach with it.
And his knuckles, right?
I never saw his knuckles. So
okay.
His knuckles hurt that he had to have them healed. But he had a thing with pain. I don't know if he was a masochist or not, but okay. There used to be an S&M place called the Chateau. And it was on Santa Monica Boulevard. And the woman who owned it was a big fan. And Costa used to go there. And one time he took me there with him. I saw politicians, police enforcement in this place.
You saw what now?
I saw politicians there.
Oh, politicians. And police.
Yeah, police enforcers. I'm not going to name names, but I saw big names in that place.
George told me. He had told me about that place. It was kind of like a whorehouse, right? Where you could go get laid.
You can go get laid, but they specialize in S&M shit.
Okay.
So Costa takes me into the place, and I became friends with the owner. So I'm sitting there, and this woman comes in, raises her dress, pulls on her underwear, and puts a light bulb into her. And then she turned around and said, $500 to the guy who can break it. She had at least 5 guys kick her in the as hard as they could. Finally, one guy kicked her so hard he broke the light bulb. She wasn't doing gave him $500 and walked the fuck out. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go. So Costa went there to be. That's what he said. Well, he went there to be, and I guess it happened, and he wasn't satisfied. So then she recommended this other woman to do it. This other woman looked like a linebacker from the LA Rams. She was big, and she was black, and had no sense of humor. So I was like, okay, this is not going to go well, but okay, whatever. So she Costa so fucking hard, his eyes popped out. He turned around and said, you fucking bitch. He goes, oh, so I'm a bitch. He was tied over a horse thing, in gymnastics. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He was tied over. He couldn't move. I couldn't take him, man. I left. So we had a rehearsal the next day. And Costa came literally to rehearsal with a pillow tied to his ass. I was like, what the fuck, man? But he played bass like a motherfucker. Have you ever been to LA?
I have, yeah.
You have the Rainbow and you have the Roxy just right next door. Anyway, and there was a club called the Country Club in Reseda. There was a big rock club.
Sure.
There were two twins called Tivy and Tavi. They were blonde. And at some point in LA, everybody was into the vampire shit. And if a girl wanted you, she would bite you and draw blood. And then you were hers for the night. And Tivy and Tavi slept in coffins. And they were big M80 fans. And Costa hung out with them. He was into some shit. But if you sat down and said, Costa, let's talk about whatever, he was highly intelligent.
How did you meet him?
Through the Valley Green sheet. I put in an ad for a bass player. He answered the ad. When he saw me, he goes, hey, Niki, you're Niki Buzz. He said, I'm the bass player for this band. He says, you can take the ad out. I'm the bass player for this band. And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know Don Costa from Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know they played with Ozzy. I didn't know anything about him. But the fact that he looked in my eyes and says, I'm the bass player for this band. We started to play it. I said, yes, you are. He said, I already have the drummer. So we're a band now. And that was it.
Is this 83?
Yeah, around 83. Yeah.
And so that's right after Ozzy?
Yeah. I'm the last real band that he ever played in.
So did he ever tell you the story about getting fired from Ozzy?
Yeah, he told me what happened.
What did he tell you?
He said he was in the tour bus. A show the night before, he gutted a bunny on stage. Costa, live bunny. And he was in the tour bus, and Ozzy summoned him to come over and just looked at him and smashed him in the face. Didn't say anything, just smashed him in the face and broke his nose and took him to the hospital and said, fix his nose. And Costa said, I think it's because I upstaged him. Because, you know, the whole Ozzy in the bat thing, you know. He says either that or he just didn't like my nose. And he goes, I can't figure it. He said, I never really figured out which one it was. Because Ozzy could have just broken my nose because he thought it was ugly and I needed a new nose.
Was he upset about losing that gig, or was he okay with it?
He didn't give a fuck. He was such a free spirit. I remember, you've been to the Rainbow, right?
Uh-huh.
We were at the Rainbow. Well, not we. I was at the Rainbow. And there was all this commotion going on. I said, what the fuck is going on? Costa showed up in motorcycle boots, a 5 o'clock shadow, a cigar in his mouth, and Victoria's Secret negligee. Standing there smoking a cigar, in motorcycle boots, a thong, and fucking women's Victoria's Secret negligee. Daring anybody to say anything about it, he's going to kick their fucking ass.
And nobody said anything, right?
No, nobody said anything. We went upstairs, and that's when me and Blackie Lawless got into it.
Okay, so you got to tell me about that. What happens there?
Well, I'm upstairs, and Blackie Lawless, he's tall, and he had on those fucking Kiss boots that he used to wear.
Right.
So he's looking down on me in a very menacing way, saying dumb shit.
Like what?
Well, you fuck all kinds of racist shit.
Wow.
None of your fucking fans are walking our shows, and the NFL fans go to watch your black ass. They'll never be at a WASP show again, and all that kind of shit, right? Well, I'm 5'6", 7". So at this point, his crotch is in my face. So I punched him in the crotch. I work out. I'm 71 years old, and I still work out 6 days a week in the gym. So if I punch you in the, you're gonna feel it. So that started the melee, and at some point the bouncers threw us both out. Now, if you go to the Rainbow, you go upstairs. If you go upstairs, there's a back door, and then there's a long stairs all the way down to the street. But the bouncers threw us out all the way down to the street. I'm sure Blackie Lawless was drunk, and I'm sure that he probably won't remember this, and he'll probably deny it or whatever. I don't give a fuck. Costa was there, but he's dead, so he could back me up. They throw us. I ended up rolling down these stairs till I hit the street. And when I hit the street, I looked up, and there was this guy standing there. And it was Alan Holdsworth, because he was playing the Roxy, which is right next door to the Rainbow. And I looked up and I went, you're Alan Holdsworth. Alan Holdsworth looked at me, because obviously he saw us thrown out, you know. And he looks at me like, you little midget, who the fuck are you, whatever. But he didn't say anything. So I went to shake his hand, and I swear to you, my entire hand fit into the palm of his hand.
That's how he's such a badass. Yeah. I mean, the guy's like unreal, or was.
He had the largest hands I've ever seen on a human being. My entire hand, all 5 fingers to the tip, fit into the palm of his hand, and then his fingers kept going after that. And that's the first time I met Alan Holdsworth. And then, of course, I saw him, like I told you, later at the Pasadena factory because Charvel was sponsoring him as well.
With Blackie, he definitely wanted Don to be in the band, but I think according to the interview I did with Chris, he said that Don was playing out of tune or something. He said, I'll chew your balls off and spit them in your face if you ever do that again. And he goes, and Don quit. And then Blackie was real upset, like he wanted Don to be in the band. So I wonder if that's part of why he was messing with you.
Yeah, it could have been part of it because there was no reason for him to be like that. I heard now he's a born-again Christian or whatever.
Right. Was that your first time meeting Blackie?
Yeah. You know, because I avoided him because I've got a temper from hell. I'm not the kind of guy who will walk away. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay away from this guy. Because if this guy says shit to me, I'm going to clock his ass. He was vicious. He was vicious with the racist shit. You know, I really hated that guy. And that's just, you know, very few things in life I hate. But him, I hated. And then he's standing over me like that, saying dumb shit to me like that, it's on. And you know the funny thing about it? I never saw him after that. Not really. And when I did see him, he never mentioned it. He never mentioned it, which leads me to believe he doesn't remember. Some guy punches you in the you remember that.
Right. Yeah.
And he used to wear that cod piece, right?
Yeah.
With the fucking a circular saw in it.
Yeah.
And so, you know.
That's
whatever.
probably why he wore it, huh? He started wearing that after.
Probably.